this is my evaluation question 1. To start off with, I want to talk about how my media products use forms and conventions of real media text. So, there was a particular director in David Fincher that I wanted to replicate, and something he's notorious for is his use of lighting, shadows. You know, how he partially lets certain characters to create a tense, great vibe of the thriller genre. So lighting was something massive for me, and that is something I definitely want to replicate in my trailer and use in my trailer. I found it difficult as well because of the cameras we was using. Whenever I wanted to create like a dark scene, something that's really low key lit, the camera really struggled to capture everything I wanted it to, and often the footage came out grainy, so it was difficult to really use that to the full potential that I wanted to execute that. However, I think I've used it well in where I could, it's been used appropriately. Another piece of text, or I'd say more a particular relationship representation that I used is from The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, for me, that important dynamic of the film was to get across the relationship of the male and female character, and I personally liked how it was represented in the Amazing Spider-Man films between Peter and Gwen, because there's a similar aspect there, whereas he's going on to take on these criminals, he's stepping up, taking the law into his own hands, similar to my male character, and his female character wants to keep him grounded, wants to keep him safe. So I really enjoyed that dynamic.
That's not your job. Maybe it is.
The representation of the two characters and their relationship isn't necessarily something conventional of the thriller genre. However, it was definitely something that I wanted to incorporate in order to bring the emotional, an emotional core to the characters and to the trailer. So, it appeals to a wider range of people as well as not just my target audience. To convey genre, I also looked at, obviously typical genre films, and I noticed that in one film in particular, The Town, which has a scene similar to mine where the group break into the bank at the start of the heist, and it's very similar to where the shooter comes into the school at the beginning of my trailer. I noticed it was in slow motion, and that is something I wanted to replicate, as I felt it created that tension, represented the genre, but mainly specifically built up that tension. It was building up the tension. What's going to happen? You're on your GC. You want the footage on almost speed up to convey that. And I think the building up the tension is something it's integral to the thriller genre. That is why I wanted to place it in there. There's also I placed in a scene from Drive where he takes a bullet and a hammer, and he hammers it into the guy's head, and I thought that's something I wanted to replicate, to homage not only to homage a film that I love, an actor that I love, but I felt it truly conveyed the violence of the thriller genre, and that's something I definitely wanted to get across in my trailer. How it's a violent film, but the psychology of him holding on to this bullet, which isn't revealed in the trailer, but would have been the bullet that killed his girlfriend, and how it's very psychological, and mixing that with the violence creates, for me, what is a conventional thriller, particularly something I was going for in terms of the psychological thriller. The fact that he's held onto this bullet and he's hammering it into this guy's head, close up, personal, that represents the character in a way where he's not unstable, but the two sides to the character that he has. This hooded persona and an unhooded persona. and that's why I wanted to get across that violent psychological aspect. That's why I replicated the scene from Drive. In my magazine, I feel I've used typical conventions, in particular my masthead book tip films, magazines, such as Empire Total Film. You look at the masthead, they've got big, bold, font, so they cover the entire page. That's what the magazine is, that's the name, that's what they want people to know. I feel I've replicated that. Got a bold font, Gotham Mold it was called. Centered my masthead, dragged it out to the full page, kept a nice ratio, dynamic, made it, so it's noticeable, memorable to people. I also felt I've used the 3-colour rule as well, which is conventional in majority of magazines. The golden and the black and the red. I found that is something I wanted to definitely stick to. It's not only in keeping with the conventions of the 3-colour rule, but it also, the colours themselves for me, the gold and the red represent this higher, not more mature, sophisticated audience. Someone's really into film, gold is represented well for all this. But for me, it gives off a mature, sophisticated vibe, which is what I'm targeting, an older audience, someone who can appreciate film, educated in a level of film, and this is what this magazine will be for. In terms of my poster, I think colour again is something I've really used from typical conventions. Got red and black, typical thriller. This as well. If you literally Google thriller poster, you look at the section, it's literally flooded with red and black. Black, usually red masthead, which is what I've chosen to incorporate. But I think red and black definitely colour scheme incorporates a thriller, represents a thriller, sorry. And that is obviously what I was going for. I think as well, the use of the hood, the dark clothes, dark background, as well as sticking to regular codes and conventions like your credit block, your day, your title, your institutions, that dark colour and dark clothing is so represent conventional of a thriller poster. I think in many ways, in terms of moving on to development now, where I've developed media products, forms of conventions of real media products, the narrative in a way of my trailer is very dark. It's a school shooting, it's something that off the top of my head I can't think of a Hollywood blockbuster that's tackled something like this. And I think that aspect is intriguing because it's a very touchy subject matter, particularly recently. We look at recent years, what's going on even earlier this year, and I think because of that, it not only incorporates the psychological thriller, but you look at crime thriller and in a way sort of drama. I think the development of the narrative has challenged the thriller genre, so I've really pushed it wider, and I've sort of incorporated a mix of psychological and crime, and then an element of drama, particularly as I said earlier, in the emotional core as well of the two characters. I think in my posters where I've developed real media text is look at the fact that I've chosen to do a landscape. Now, if you think of a regular poster, you imagine A4, portrait poster up on the wall, but you see a lot of posters, particularly at cinema, sometimes even online, that are landscape, and that is something I really want to incorporate, particularly to be slightly different, to develop, to not just conform and be stereotypical of a poster. I want to make it slightly different and bring a different aspect to that. Now, in terms of challenge, I think particularly in my magazine, I think the sort of that second image, the behind the scenes photo on the cover, is something I don't remember seeing often. I think you usually, with a mainstream magazine, get one main image and that's it on a magazine. It's very stereotypical that your main image and that's a draw. That was what draws the audience in, that main image. However, I think that because I made my trailer very director emphasised and very star orientated, I felt it was ideal to incorporate an image of the director and star onto the cover, and particularly because of Go Libraries, we I think it's go on set of Buckley's latest adventure, which is about the director. I felt it is needed to incorporate that because I made the film on the basis of that the director almost being a star, like a Fincher or a Nolan film. That the director would be a pulling point to the audience, and I felt that is why I needed to incorporate that onto a magazine. And I think on my poster, the way it's been challenged is the use of a vertical title. I think that because I did the poster landscape, I felt that again I wanted to this time challenge, make something really different. Didn't want to stick, the title on the bottom of the page or at the top of the page. So there, I felt that the verticalness, the way I create the title vertically, not only is it something different, but it represents the narrative in a way as well, because it creates the narrative is about the divide between him when he's not wearing this hood and him when he is wearing the hood. The two clashes as a personalities, and I think the way the title is set vertically, it creates that barrier, it creates that divide that the audience will, that the subconsciously will pick up on.